Yeah, this is a video I wanted to make for ages, but I kind of used the excuse of I wanted to be a particular way or I wanted to look a certain way. Really, I was just procrastinating, and kind of scared, if I'm being honest, to share it. But I think God's just been telling me, like, you need to make this video as much as it is for other people, also for myself. I think in this just recent season, I just need a reminder of what my testimony is and where I've come from, you know. Shout out Hope because she's always telling me, hey, like sometimes you don't notice things yourself, someone has to tell you. So this is me telling myself where I'm coming from, I guess. So yeah, but I also hope that if you're watching this today, I hope this impacts you in some way, and I hope you feel the love of God just as I felt in those moments. Because what he did in me was just amazing, not that I'm perfect, but I think you hear throughout this testimony of just where he's brought me from. I was thinking earlier where I should start this from, and I think I'll start from when I was a child. As a kid, we attended a Catholic church. I grew up in a Christian home, and yeah, my relationship with God was kind of very childish, as you could imagine. You lose something, you ask God, "Hey, please help me," or you do something bad, you ask God for forgiveness, not understanding why I needed forgiveness. I understand that Jesus came and he died for our sins, but I didn't really understand what sin was. I kept thinking that sin was the action, although there's a root from that sin. So I didn't understand that we inherited sin. All these things didn't come too much later. But just as a kid, I was more scared of God than anything. I wouldn't say I had a fear. I was terrified that God might actually like strike me if I did something bad. So that was kind of what I thought God to be at the time. And church was another experience. I used to love going to church because of the hymns, and I didn't really understand what the hymns were saying, but I knew I liked the hymns. I liked how the song sounded. So shout out St. Joachim, some of the best hymns ever. We're also going to St. Patrick's in Blacktown. I know a lot of my cousins and stuff go there still, and yeah, beautiful church, beautiful people there. Um, but yeah, that was what God was to me as a child. In school, you kind of get told all these stories. Like, what's one I can't remember. I think my favorite one is probably like Noah the Ark, because that's probably one like easiest to remember. You watch the movie. What movie is it? Evan Almighty. We used to watch that in primary school. So I guess yeah, that was kind of like I didn't understand how serious it was. I knew I was scared of him, but I didn't understand how I didn't understand him. I didn't understand the character of God and who God was. It is 5:12. It is 5:12 right now. Currently at the airport. I'm a bit lazily. I got a runny nose and that, but it's alright. It's kind of weird filming with so many people around, but I gotta get used to it eventually. We're going to Adelaide. Well, Adelaide to serve, part of the social media team. I'm very excited for this trip. So, first time on a plane too. So, wigging out a little bit, but it's cool. I never thought the airport was like this. Can you believe that 20-year-old never been on a plane before, but it's alright. First of many. So yeah, I'm about to order food. Yeah, I'm thinking about making this trip kind of use the clips from this trip as in my testimony video. So if all goes to plan, then this will be part of my testimony video. Yeah, and then that's kind of how it was until I was growing up, until I got to about high school. And I got to high school, and at that point, to be honest, I had completely forgotten about God. I was kind of consumed by the things that was going on around me. I start going to this boarding school. Shout out Stenny's. Shout out Stenny. Shout out all the boys from Stenny's. If you're watching this, love yous. But yeah, like I start going to high school, and I kind of forget about God completely. Like God is kind of an afterthought. I'm not taking God seriously at all. I'm not thinking if I do something wrong, oh, I gotta repent. Just not what I'm thinking. If I feel bad, I feel bad, not because of what God thinks of me, it's because of what I think of me. And I kind of fell into the standards of the world and what the world around me was telling me. And kind of, wanting to be liked or wanting to be cool. Whether it was like girls or sports and stuff like that, whatever it had may been. But yeah, like I always felt to the standard, I wanted to be cool and wanted to be liked, and that put a lot of pressure on myself. And that pressure eventually just turned into like a pretty bad self-image, and how I looked at myself was pretty bad because I was judging it off what I thought other people thought of me, and that never goes well because you're trying to read other people's minds and you make stuff up in your head. But yeah, at the time I had a pretty poor self-image, of a bad. I had bad self-love. I didn't really love myself too much. But yeah, of course you don't tell anyone at the time. I guess a lot of my friends didn't know till after I had told them that I was going through this in high school. But yeah, like you don't really want to tell anyone because it's not cool. It goes back to that point. I was comparing myself to the next person, and that never helped because I always felt less than the next person. So yeah, like I don't know, that was kind of how I got to this eventually a deep depression, like just a place where it was numbness, to be honest, like just feeling so angry all the time. And so, that's one thing I never really felt like sadness. It was more just like a real anger at myself more than anything, like a real deep anger at myself. And I never knew why. I never knew what I did to deserve the anger that I was putting on myself, but I just knew I was angry with myself. So eventually, yeah, I become numb and I'm just not feeling anything. It doesn't matter who says what to me. It doesn't matter like what's going on around me. I just didn't care anymore. COVID didn't help, of course, spending a lot of time by myself. But yeah, eventually I just stopped caring about a lot of things, and yeah, led to pretty poor decisions, I'll say. Yeah, those that know me, I guess, kind of know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I guess to counteract this numbness, I ended up like I started smoking. I started smoking weed. I started smoking pretty heavy in high school. But that gave me feeling, like as much as it also made me feel cool and liked, like it also made me feel a certain way, physically. And I like the feeling, if I'm being honest. Like I used to kind of itch for the next time to be high, at night and stuff, But yeah, like that was kind of what it was. I needed it to feel something, Or a lot of times it helped me sleep because I'd just be up thinking about just the worst thoughts you can think of. I'd just be up all night and I couldn't sleep. So whenever we did, like it would help me sleep. And that kind of went on. That kind of went on throughout high school, and that also kind of became my personality, which was at the time. Now that I think of it, it was a scary thing, but at the time I didn't mind. Like that was just what it was. I'm dang and I smoke, and all my friends know me because I can do this, and that, and it's cool, But at the time, I didn't know that it was playing with my mental health. My happiness was very dependent on that. Whether I was high or not, my happiness was definitely very dependent. So yeah, that was pretty bad, and that kind of continued, yeah, until I finished high school. Yeah, coming up to the end of high school, I was kind of ready to leave that place. As much as I loved it, I was ready to leave, as you are usually when you're about to finish high school. And yeah, so I finished school, and then all of a sudden I'm in the real world. Like, whoa! And if you're young and you're still in school, I'm telling you right now, the real world is like, listen to people when they say that it's very different, because it is. You're not protected anymore. I think growing up, I always had my parents when I was younger to tell me, "Hey, don't do this and don't do that." If you get in trouble, you get a smack in the wrist, and then it's cool. You can go on. And then in high school, you have the same thing. You got teachers telling you, you get your parents telling you, you're very protected. But as soon as you step out there and you're an adult now, it's a whole different, Jesus, a whole different game. And I was kind of very lost. I didn't have a sense of identity. I was still kind of rolling with this smoking thing and making it my identity. And yeah, but I feel so cringe saying that. But and then I say the first year I was out of school was just a bunch of like soul searching. I'd say exploring who I am, uh, at least who I thought I was, even deeper. Because I knew that smoking stuff, I knew that wasn't me. I was just doing it because I felt nothing. So kind of using the fact that I'm out of school now to go seek and see what I like and see who I am for real. And everywhere I looked, I couldn't find it. I couldn't really find it. That happiness, that joy I was looking for, I couldn't really find it. And I didn't know why, and it just led to more anger. And yeah, like I was just treated with smoking or going out or getting drunk and stuff like that. So that was kind of the what I was doing at the time. And then throughout, I forgot to mention this, but throughout high school, my mom started attending this church, Streams International. Shout out Streams International, best church in the world. But she started attending this church, and like I can tell, I noticed that it was very different from what I was used to. It was very different, and I think the one that got me the most was speaking tongues. I came home one time and from school, and she was speaking in tongues. She was praying in the front room, and I'm just like, "What? Did my mom learn a new language or something?" And then every time I'd come downstairs, she'd be down there praying and speaking in tongues. And I'm just like, hey, what is she talking about? I kind of clowned her a little bit for it. Not even a little bit, I did clown her for it. But yeah, at the time, I just didn't understand it. I had a lack of knowledge. So yeah, as time went on, she's still going to this church. And now we come to the point where I finished school and she's telling me about this church. And, I've been there a couple services here and there, but I didn't go with an open heart. No way I came. I came so she would leave me alone. So I wouldn't have to go for the next month. So that's how I was coming. And then eventually I started going. I saw Luau started attending regularly, and he had changed, and yeah, I started attending regularly, and I was just still kind of a closed heart, not understanding too much. And then we get to this point, we get to the start of 2023. We get to the start of 2023, and there's a youth camp. I keep hearing about this youth camp, but before the youth camp's in about February, and before this youth camp, we have a fasting season. And they were having a fasting season, and I remember Luau and my mom coming home and saying, they're fasting, they're not eating. There's big feed at home, and I'm like, hey, why aren't you guys eating? They said, oh, we're fasting with the church. I'm like, fasting, what's that? And she said, no, we don't eat from 6 to 6. And I'm like, okay, that sounds weird. And then I saw it as a challenge. I kind of looked at it, oh, they're not doing it, I can do it too. The comparison thing. But yeah, I started doing it. I started fasting. I forgot how long it was. I really forgot how long it was. I wish I knew. But it was just, yeah, it was a certain amount of time I was fasting, and it was coming up to this youth camp. I didn't really want to go, but my mum really wanted me to go. And, I was kind of in the mindset, okay, if I go to this thing, she'll leave me alone. Same kind of thing. But I end up going to this, after fasting, I end up going to this youth camp, and this, at the time, I didn't know any of the youth. Like, I didn't really want to know any of the youth. I didn't think they were my kind of people, I guess. But yeah, at the time, I just didn't really want to know them. And then as time went on, I ended up going to this youth camp, and I remember the first day, it was fun. I won't even lie, it was so fun. Like, we ended up playing these games, and I get put in this tribe. Shout out Red Tribe, we're the best. But I end up getting put in this tribe, and um, one of the people in there was Faith. And I remember Faith, she was probably one of the first people to actually like come and talk to me and have a conversation with me. But she was kind of my introduction to like what the youth would be like, to make me a little more open. So shout out her, I know she's watching this. Shout out you. But yeah, as time went on, where I'm in this tribe, and I'm started to talk to people, and it's cool. And this is just throughout the day. So the first day we're there, and then we get to nighttime, and now we're praying, right? Remember I was telling you how my mom's speaking in tongues. Now I'm watching the whole youth speak in tongues. I don't know how to speak in tongues. I don't even know what tongues is, right? But all I know is that when they pray, I feel a presence. I'm not understanding what this presence is at the time. It's not as obvious as it should be to me, like, at the time, but I'm feeling this like presence, and I'm just like, oh, what is that? You know, what is that? And I'm very reluctant to this presence. I'm not used to it. I'm kind of rejecting this presence, and I'm feeling it, and I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know what that was. And then I remember going into the room, and it's lights out, we're about to sleep, and I remember feeling the same presence, but as I was sleeping, I remember just being woken up by this presence, and it felt like love. It felt like what I had been searching for. I was always filled with this like kind of anger, like this underlying anger for no reason, just being mad, bro. And then I think just I felt the opposite, and I felt a deep sense of it. It was a godly love, and I was just like, whoa. And I remember trying not to cry. I'm in a room full of boys, trying to hold it down, just doing those ones. And I remember feeling this presence. I'm just like, whoa, like what is that? And actually like embracing the presence, and then understanding that, hey, this is God. This is God. Like I'm feeling the love of God right now, and I think that was easily one of the best moments of my life. Like just feeling that, just laying there and just feeling God. Because you gotta understand, up until this point, I'm feeling like I'm so unworthy of this love, and feeling so kind of reminding of myself. It turned into a kind of a condemnation of like, oh, why would God even want to love me? I think that's why I initially rejected that feeling, because like I know the things I had done. Like I know the skeletons in my closet, and I don't feel worthy of God's love. I didn't feel worthy of God's love. And I was just like, whoa, like what is this feeling, and why me? Why did he decide to love me? That was kind of the feeling I had. And as time as time went on, okay, the next night. So now we're in day 2 of camp, and now I'm locked in. You feel me? Now I'm locked in because what I just felt, that's unexplainable. That's like undeniable. In fact, like that is God. I felt God in that room. Now I'm locked in. So again, we're praying. We're praying that night, bro. Like it's deeper this time. Like the second day, the presence is 10 times more drag. Like I don't know how to explain it. I just felt the whole day, like the whole day, I was just feeling this love. And then when we started praying, it just amplified times 10. And that was crazy. That was so crazy. And I remember what was being taught at the time was how do I shine my light, you know? And then even just being told that I have light inside me, I was like, oh yeah, today's the day. You feel me? Today's the day. And that was the day I gave my life to Christ. I remember the second day. I forgot the date. I should know the date, but I don't know the date. But I gave my life to Christ that day, and that is the best decision I ever made, you know, and it was the love of God that led me to that point. I hadn't even heard the teaching on how do I shine my light. I just got told that there's light inside me, and that's the first time that I heard that in my life. That hey, you have light inside you, and I was like, oh, all right, cool. How do I accept Jesus? Like, where do we go from here? Okay, like you don't have to tell me, you don't have to convince me anymore. Like, I was really low key about to give my life to Christ. Now you just told me that I have light inside me. Yeah, where do I sign? You feel me? But yeah, it was kind of a matter of and then after the teaching, we got led through the salvation prayer, and I just remember saying it and feeling peace. I was feeling love before, but I was feeling an overwhelming sense of peace. Like, okay, like it's calm, it's so calm, like you're chilling. I don't know how to explain that peace, but those who have Jesus in their life, man, I know you know what I'm talking about. But that peace was different. That peace was something I thank God for constantly, because that peace that I have right now, it's not even gone. I still have it to this day. That peace that I have is just amazing. It's amazing, and that joy that I feel, is so amazing. So yeah, like, and I hope the people that don't know Jesus or kind of been seeking truth, I hope this testimony can kind of help you see that it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter what you've done in your life. There is a God in heaven, who sent down his son to die for you, and he loves you so much, He loves you so much, and Jesus died for you, like you right there. Yeah, he died for you. It doesn't matter what you've done, you're not too dirty to come to God. That's the mindset I had. You're not too dirty to come to God, All you gotta do is seek him, man, and he'll meet you where you need to be, man. And I'm not sharing this story just to say that I'm perfect now and I know no, that's not the case. I'm just letting you know that there's a God that truly loves you. Love. I think a lot of time we hear this story of repent or go to hell, and I guess I understand, like, yeah, like hell is a real place, but I think the love of God is truly what brought me to Christ. It wasn't my fear for hell. It was the love of God. And I think people need to hear that. And I hope that hearing this testimony impacted you in some way. Uh, yeah, yeah. If you're watching this, just know that Jesus loves you. If you have any questions, I'll put my Instagram in the bio. Please hit me up. I'd love to talk to you. Leave a comment if you enjoyed this. I'm doing a new style of videoing, so if you like it, I'm trying to do that cinematic feel. But if you're enjoying it, just let me know. And yeah, stay blessed, and in a bit.